Venezuela reaffirms loyalty, commitment, and unity as 17 days pass since the kidnapping of the President Nicolas Maduro and First Lady Silvia Flores by the United States. In Ecuador, the scandal over containers filled with tons of cocaine linked to the family of Ecuadorian President Noboa continues to escalate. Lawmakers accuse the judicial system of complicity. And Chile has declared a state of catastrophe and reported at least 19 deaths due to wildfires affecting the Ñuble and Biobío regions. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela, the peace of the early hours on Saturday, January 3rd, 2026 was shattered by the roar of U.S. aggression. The homes of hundreds of families ceased to be safe havens and became the target of a military operation. Eyewitness accounts reconstruct the chronicle of an attack that the people and the world will not forget. Our correspondent Andrea Romero with the details.
On the night of January 3rd, the bombing that shattered the silence in the Carlos Raúl Villanueva housing complex in Fuerteventura, the residential complex, located within Caracas military base, is now trying to process the events that took place.
There was a helicopter positioned in this area towards the mountains, where we have the president's house and all our political team. He says that yes, the helicopter was in this position, and when it moved, it scanned the house with a red light. Then it repositioned towards the mountains to continue firing.
But the most difficult damage to repair is the one that remains the memory of those who tried to bring calm in the midst of fire.
We didn't sleep. It felt like 3 days passed as if night never came, or maybe we didn't want night to come. What I do remember is that after the sounds of the bomb stopped, I called my mom and my other daughter, told them we were okay. And after that, I don't remember anything else.
For Samaga, it was her instinct to protect that drove her in total darkness. With the heart racing, her only priority was her son.
I got up, went to turn on the light, but there was no power. Since he sleeps with me, I started waking him up. In that moment of desperation, I ran, put on my shoes, told him to put on his shoes, and we left. Honestly, my nerves wouldn't even let me open up. At one point, all I could do was hold him and say, well, son, if they kill us, let them kill us together. I hugged him, but then a neighbor started shouting, Samaga, get out. That's when we went downstairs.
Amid the chaos, she immediately identified the source of attack.
I heard it and I already knew it was the United States attacking us, because of everything that had been said, all the threats from that man. But in that moment, I thought it was against everyone. I thought they were going to kill us all. I ran out, running with my son holding onto me, seeing the helicopters diagonally across from my building and hearing the detonations. Now we know they were missiles aimed at a specific location. I ran praying to God, God protect me, protect my son, Lord. That's all I was asking as I ran. I ran so much that, amid the neighbors' desperation and confusion, a hole opened up and that's where I got out.
That hole in the wall separating the house complex from the Bale Coach Highway symbolized the violation of sovereignty after years of peace. The little ones now hear the world with different ears. Any loud sound in the street becomes a reminder of their early morning of January 3rd.
After that, I feel more or less affected, because every time I hear a fast motorcycle and it makes noise, I think it's a bomb or a missile. Or when I hear exhaust pipes, I think it's a gunshot. or when a truck hits something, and it makes a noise like a manhole cover being struck, I think it's a bomb too.
Pienso que no sé, es una bomba también.
Oriana, por su parte, relata cómo a menos
Oriana, for her part, recounts how just meters from her window lies the mountain that night was the scene of the attack, causing direct damage to her home and threatening the lives of her children, leaving an open wound.
Siento un poco triste.
I feel a little sad, yes. I feel a little sad because our children, our girls, our women, and families who are used to living in peace have been psychologically harmed. I feel sad because we don't deserve this. We don't deserve to be living like this.
No merecemos estar así.
para the lady, vecina de la Torre Teide.
For the lady, a resident of Tower 30, the attack struck with the force of an earthquake, and immediately her absolute priority was her mother.
Estamos terminando de ver el capítulo de la novela.
We were finishing watching a chapter of the soap opera when the building started shaking terribly, like an earthquake. My mom went into shock. She thought, as I did, that it was an earthquake. I grabbed her and carried her because she has a heart condition, and I thought she might have a heart attack. I kept telling her, calm down, calm down. From her bedroom window, which wasn't far from us, I looked out and saw the smoke, and I knew they were bombing, that the country was being invaded.
Yo sabía que estaban bombardeando.
Tras el ataque se reportaron 400.
After the attack, 464 people were reported affected. The residents continued lives, balancing psychological care and moral reconstruction, demonstrating that the strength of these people lies in their ability to move forward together, claiming their sacred right to peace on their own land.
Desde Caracas, en la Cámara de Jesús Romero, para Telesur, Andrea Romero.
Also in Venezuela, acting President Delcy Rodriguez provided a summary of the intense week that culminated 17 days after the kidnapping of President Nicolas Maduro and First Lady Cilia Flores by the United States. In this scenario, the acting president has reaffirmed the government's commitment to strengthening the hydrocarbon industry and steadily boosting national production established in the plan approved by President Nicolas Maduro. Reaffirming what she assured during the annual address before the Venezuelan parliament, Rodriguez announced the creation of 2 sovereign funds to be managed with criteria of maximum transparency. A statement from the acting head of state was accompanied by a message of unity and loyalty, demanding the return of President Maduro and Congresswoman Cilia Flores. And solidarity with Venezuela was felt in Kenya, where demonstrators rejected U.S. military aggression outside the United States Embassy. Citizens and social organizations mobilized to denounce the January 3rd military attack, which resulted in the kidnapping of Venezuelan constitutional President Nicolas Maduro and lawmaker Cilia Flores. Despite a police blockade, demonstrators demanded respect for Venezuela's sovereignty and stated that this aggression responds to Washington's interest in controlling the country's oil resources. These protests joined the global wave of solidarity, calling for an end to the intervention and the full enforcement of international law. And in Germany, in the city of Frankfurt, a group of citizens and human rights defenders gathered to condemn the military aggression by the United States. In this scenario, participants denounced the act as a foreign intervention aimed at seizing Venezuela's oil wealth. The protests in Germany joined the voices of rejection raised across several countries, all calling for respect for international law and an end to the use of force against the Venezuelan people. We have a first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Ecuador, the scandal over containers filled with tons of cocaine linked to the family of Ecuadorian President Noboa continues to escalate as lawmakers accuse the judicial system of complicity. Politicians, activists, and lawmakers assert that the case is about to reach 1 year without any progress, despite the evidence, testimony, and even some arrests. They recall that on March 27, 2025, the sting operation detected a container registered and certified to contain 2.6 tons of cocaine. Security forces found the drugs in the port of Pasorja in the containers of the Jars of Plastic Public Limited Company, a company related to Álvaro Noboa, father of the head of state, and also linked to the vice president of the Assembly, party colleague of President Noboa. Guatemalan President Bernardo Arévalo declared a 30-day state of emergency following attacks by criminal groups. The exceptional measure seeks to deploy the full force of the state against criminal groups that took over 3 prisons and attacked police, leaving 7 officers dead and 10 injured. The authorities described the incidents as acts of terrorism, confirmed the death of 1 attacker and the arrest of 7 gang members, emphasizing that there will be no deals with criminals.
A estos criminales que creen que un gobierno democrático.
To these criminals who believe that a democratic government is a weak government, we are showing them with conclusive facts that they are fatally wrong. That is why I have decided to declare a state of emergency throughout the national territory for 30 days starting today. The purpose of this is to guarantee the protection and safety of citizens, while also allowing the use of the full force of the state, especially that of the National Civil Police and the Guatemalan Army, to take action against gangs and maras and prevent their terrorist actions.
Contra las pandillas y las maras e impedir sus acciones terroristas.
Chile has declared a state of catastrophe and reported at least 19 deaths due to wildfires affecting the Ñuble and Biobío regions. Local authorities in cities such as Penco in the Biobío region reported that the fires have been spreading, affecting densely populated areas. The Ñuble region is also on red alert, with more than 4,700 hectares affected by the flames. Meanwhile, in the Biobío region in the Concepcion commune, over 2,900 hectares have already burned. Authorities specified that a total of 23 fires are currently active and being fought, 7 in Ñuble, 7 in Biobío, 5 in Araucanía in the south, and the rest in various regions across the country.
At 2:30 in the morning, the fire was out of control. There were whirlwinds, the houses in the town below, and then it spread, and there was no way to stay. The smoke was very toxic. We left with what we were wearing and nothing else. We were able to contact very few of our neighbors and managed to evacuate quickly, because I believe that if we had stayed 20 minutes longer, we would have died in the fire.
And in this context, Chile's Minister of Public Security, Luis Cordero, confirmed that the death toll from the wildfires remains at 19, with more than 1,500 people registered as affected. In the latest update provided by the national government, which has described the fire as an extreme event comparable in intensity to those that occurred in 2017, 2023, and 2024, it was reported that 18 of the deaths occurred in Biobío and 1 in Ñuble. These are currently the 2 most affected regions where active fires continue. Authorities have also confirmed 630 people in shelters, 350 homes completely destroyed, and 1,000 homes under evaluation. Additionally, according to the National Director of the Disaster Prevention and Response Service, Alicia Sebran, 23 wildfires remain actively burning. And in the U.S., an Arctic cold front cover areas of the Florida Peninsula with snow. For the 2nd consecutive year, the so-called Sunshine State experienced this winter weather phenomenon. Southeast Alabama and southern Georgia were also affected. Authorities report that the snowfall was short-lived but sufficient to alter the usual landscape of these warm areas. Recent reports indicate that the frequency of these natural incidents has increased significantly. Extreme weather continues to affect national transportation and major events, including the NFL playoffs in other cities such as Boston and Chicago. Storms continue to affect citizens' lives and mobility. And California's Año Nuevo State Park opens its doors to visitors for sea elephants watching, which comes to the state's coast during the mating season. Let's see more details in the following material.
Each winter, from mid-December through March, thousands of northern elephant seals haul themselves up onto the sandy beaches on the San Mateo County coast to breed, give birth and compete for mates.
So these are elephant seals, and it's pupping season right now, which will go from the middle of December through the end of March. And the males have the big proboscis. They've got the big noses.
Adult bulls, the largest seals on the planet, can reach 14 to 16 feet in length and weigh up to 2 tons, making them a truly imposing sight as they battle for dominance and control of harems of females.
Male elephant seals have the highest level of testosterone of any mammal. So they want to mate, fight, eat, press, repeat.
The northern elephant seal's presence here today is a conservation success story.
So most elephant seals come back to the same beach where they were born. They don't all, but most of them do. And we have about 10,000 elephant seals.
In the 1800s, these animals were hunted so aggressively for their oil-rich blubber that entire populations collapsed, leaving the species teetering on the edge of extinction. What had once been abundant in the world's oceans was reduced to a fraction of its former number.
3 different times when we thought they were extinct, and then the third time was there were about 30 to 60 on the island of Guadalupe Island off of Mexico, and at that point the president of Mexico decided to protect them, and he called in the militia, and so you could not kill them anymore.
Recognizing the crisis, the Mexican government extended legal protection to the species in the early 1920s, followed shortly by protection in the United States. Today, more than 250,000 northern elephant seals roam the Pacific, and Año Nuevo hosts one of the largest mainland breeding rookeries on the west coast.
But there are about 250,000. There is a genetic bottleneck because they're all coming from that same 30 to 60. But so far they're doing really well, and we haven't had any problems.
Visitors come in droves each winter, booking docent-led guided walks along dunes and beaches to witness the spectacle, males clashing on the shore, mothers nursing 75-pound pups that quickly swell on rich milk, and the loud calls that fills the crisp seaside air.
You're not at a museum, you're not in an aquarium, you are right here watching them live doing what they do. And that looks like a female.
The work of researchers like Laura has been crucial to the revitalization of the species and the protection of these marine creatures, considered an essential component of the ecosystems with which they are closely linked. Thanks to years of monitoring, active conservation, and scientific research, it is now possible to better understand their ecological role and advance strategies that ensure their long-term survival.
We have our second break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final break, don't go away. Welcome back. In the United States, tensions are rising amid the mobilization of military troops preparing for a possible intervention against massive civilian protests in Minnesota. The Pentagon has ordered about 1,500 elite soldiers to prepare to deploy to Minnesota in anticipation of a possible military intervention amid massive popular protests rejecting the government's deportation campaign. U.S. media confirmed that the units are ready to be mobilized. This measure comes as President Donald Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in response to the arrests criminalizing demonstrators and justifying a possible escalation of military action against people defending their rights. And on Sunday, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian responded to the serious statements from the United States government, reminding them that an attack against Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei will be equivalent to a total war. The Iranian leader warned that any aggression against the leader of the Islamic Revolution would be considered an attack on the entire country. His remarks responded to threats from U.S. President Donald Trump, who openly encouraged terrorists sabotaging peaceful protests to target Ayatollah Khamenei's life. The president also reminded that the protests originated from the hardships and hard shortages caused by the hostility and inhumane sanctions imposed by Washington and its allies against the Iranian people. Meanwhile, in Spain, authorities said the death toll from the train accident that occurred on Sunday in Córdoba rose to 39. In Ademuz, two high-speed trains derailed at around 7:39 p.m. local time. National authorities described the accident as a very rare incident. Authorities added that 152 were injured. In this context, the Minister of Sustainable Mobility, Oscar Puente, said that the death toll is not final. Likewise, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez canceled his participation in the Davos Forum in Switzerland because he decided to travel to the scene of the tragedy. And the Chinese government presented its main economic results for 2025 at a press conference where the National Bureau of Statistics released official data on gross domestic product growth, industrial performance, and the evolution of the country's main economic sectors. Let's take a look with the details. Our correspondent, Bruno Falsi.
Greetings, comrades. I'm here this time to inform you that Beijing once again demonstrates the strength and stability of the Chinese socialist development model in 2025, solidifying its position as one of the main drivers of the global economy in an international landscape marked by financial crises from the neoliberal capitalist system, trade wars, and the slowdown of developed economies. The Asian nation registered a 5% growth in its GDP, reaching a volume equivalent to $20 trillion, according to the official data. The details of the growth were presented by the head of the National Bureau of Statistics during a press conference, and we see his words now.
According to preliminary estimates, GDP was just over $20 trillion in 2025, representing a 5% increase year-on-year at constant prices. Regarding industry, the value added on primary industry was nearly 10 trillion yuan, up 3.9% year-on-year. Secondary industry was 50 trillion yuan, up 4.5%, and tertiary industry was 80 trillion yuan, up 5.4%.
The engine of this impressive growth is the industry, which grew by almost 6%, while the capitalist world experienced a slowdown. China demonstrates that the path of development lies in the job creation and the strengthening of domestic consumption, also the transition to an environmentally sustainable economy. Large companies spearheaded this progress, particularly in strategic sectors such as the robotics and the new energy vehicles, reaffirms the country's ability to withstand global shocks and ensure robust growth through state planning and long-term vision. With this news from here, the capital of China, we return with you in the studios in La Habana, Cuba.
With this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thanks for watching.